Marc Lamont Hill is done biting his tongue. On a recent episode of the Joe Budden Podcast, he went off on his co-host Ish again, and this time he wasn't holding back. This isn't the first time these two have clashed. Rewind to when Marc first joined the show and challenged Ish's takes on flat earth theory and shaky science claims. Marc broke it down so thoroughly that the moment went viral beyond the podcast itself, getting picked up by outlets like the Young Turks and even circulating in academic circles. Now they're at it again, this time over Jay-Z's Roc Nation deal with Target. Marc questioned how Jay-Z could partner with Target while an active boycott was still underway. Ish, as usual, took the contrarian stance without doing much homework. It was clear Marc came with facts, while Ish leaned on surface-level talking points. Then things got interesting. Ish pulled out his phone mid-argument and started reading off AI-generated search results, probably typing something like, "Is the boycott over?" into Google. Marc shut it down immediately, launching into a breakdown of why relying on AI for information is risky. Fair point, but honestly, AI search has basically become the new Google for a lot of people. And honestly, Marc's skepticism echoes the old academic pushback against Wikipedia. Critics used to say it wasn't a legitimate source, that it couldn't be trusted. But Wikipedia always linked back to its sources, and AI tools now do something similar, citing where the information comes from. It's on the user to actually check it. So yeah, Marc was right, and his research was solid. But let's be real, the Joe Budden Podcast was never built to be a fact-checked academic panel. That's kind of the appeal. It's like walking into a barbershop full of confident opinions and half-right takes. If Marc tried pulling out well-researched arguments in an actual barbershop, someone would probably just tell him to relax. For a while, it seemed like Marc was adapting to that energy, picking his battles, not pushing too hard. But eventually, he hit his limit. And when he's passionate about something, it shows. Ish was wrong here, no doubt, but the show has never really been about being right. Whether Marc's fact-driven approach fits long-term is still something to watch. And the Ish clash wasn't the only heated moment recently. On another episode, Marc and Joe got into it over black TV dads, specifically after the passing of one of the actors from 22/7. Marc called him a legend. The rest of the panel wasn't fully on board.
A great man's eulogy. And then y'all can disagree after and it was the first moment where Black America had to, that's not true either?
What you talk about? Keep going, bro.
You know we can see your face.
I'm not saying nothing, bro. Go ahead,
but we can see your face.
Lamont Hill had a point here, but let's talk about something bigger first. There's a pattern I've noticed with how people respond to him. Imani touched on this a while back, and I think she was onto something. But because she's not seen as some credentialed academic type, a lot of people brushed her take aside. Here's what I mean. There's a segment of the audience, maybe folks who started watching after Joe Budden brought Marc on, who latch on to whatever he says just to seem like the smart one in the room. We've seen this exact dynamic before. Think about Zach Lowe, the basketball writer. When he started publishing those deep analytical breakdowns, he basically invented a new lane for basketball journalism. And suddenly, everyone trying to sound sharp started borrowing his talking points just to separate themselves from the casual fan. I think something similar happens with Marc. In this case, he was arguing that a particular sitcom dad deserved recognition as a legendary black TV father figure. And look, maybe in his eyes, that argument holds up. He clearly laid out the qualities that could support it. But I don't think most people actually see that character as belonging in the conversation about iconic black sitcom dads. So I want to hear from you. Do you think Marc was right on this one? My honest take? I don't think he was, and I think the rest of the cast picked up on that too. What really stood out to me wasn't just the argument itself, but how visibly frustrated Marc seemed. You could see it on his face, especially reacting to Ish. It feels like something shifted in the dynamic on the Joe Budden Podcast lately. My sense is that some of the cast have grown a little tired of Marc's know-it-all energy, and to be fair, he often does know more than the people around him. That's a specific kind of frustrating when you haven't put in the same research and someone else clearly has. And even when he's wrong, he's skilled at reframing it, brushing it off with something like, "I didn't know that at the time." So the misstep never really lands the way it would for anyone else in that exchange. Marc's presence on the show has had an interesting ripple effect. In my opinion, he plays a role similar to James Harden on a basketball team, someone whose sheer skill pulls the offense toward him and keeps things running, but whose dominance can also make everyone else dependent on him. Nobody else feels like they can demand the ball, because the moment they try, it's like the system defaults back to him. Why do you need the mic if we've got Marc? That dynamic might explain why the show has felt like it's lost a step recently. I noticed it clearly during the Iceman review. That episode felt rough, like a room full of people who weren't fully prepared to offer real opinions. And now that Marc seems to be stepping back a bit from the show's usual rhythm, that gap is more visible than ever. People have started saying the current cast just isn't hitting the same way. So let me know what you made of Marc seeming a little more on edge lately. I was surprised by how strongly he reacted to that sitcom dad debate, and also to the Rock Nation conversation, though honestly the Jay-Z angle makes more sense to me. Marc's been a long-time activist, and boycotting is something he clearly views as a serious tool for change. So when he sees celebrities using their platform in ways that undercut that effort, it's understandable that it would strike a nerve. Let me know what you think. We need to get to the bottom of this. And on a related note, has Ish gone quieter since Marc joined? Because before Marc arrived, Ish would speak on things without much depth, and ever since, he's noticeably dialed it back. I think it's changed the show's balance. Honestly, I'd be curious to see Ish and Marc split up the way they did with Mona and Flip, because I'm not convinced they're actually bringing out the best in each other's commentary.